Welcome to Joe's Astrology, where I have hundreds of videos with birth chart analysis of athletes, famous people, famous YouTubers. And this is the astrology birth chart for Jannik Sinner. He's one of the best tennis players in the world by ranking at this moment. He's making a good run to become number one in the world. And the first thing we see is a Gemini Rising. Gemini Rising, Saturn in Gemini, the ruler of his chart, Mercury, and it's down there in Virgo. So we see, if you've been following some of my other tennis breakdowns, you will see Mercury being prominent in the chart for at least so far as I've been doing these readings. You'll see all the top guys, Djokovic, Nadal, Federer. Haven't done those guys yet, but some of the other ones I've done as well, and I will do them here soon. They all have Mercury prominent in their chart at some level, whether it be a Gemini moon or ruler of the chart. And I've spoken about this and how tennis is good for Mercury people. It's good for people who have active minds, active nervous systems, or highly geared up nervous systems. And that's part of the reason why they play tennis in the first place from that standpoint. But let's get more into it here. He's got that Mercury there, ruler of the chart, in the sign that it rules, Virgo. So he's a very analytical guy, which is great for tennis. We see Federer with a Virgo rising as well. And that's part of the reason that's helped me become such a great tennis player is the reading some books about tennis and learning about the game and really getting into targeting, like being able to target spots at a very high level at high speeds. And we can see here he's got a Mars-Pluto conjunction in Sagittarius, and they're both in that Aries decan, which is beautiful for a tennis player, beautiful for any athlete. If you have an athlete, you see some of these big top athletes, the real fierce competitors. They got that Mars Pluto aspect, whether it's a square, it's a trine, it's a conjunction. I have the trine, and I have been absolutely amazed at what I've done in competition at times in my life. In my local area, I've never seen anyone else. Maybe one guy uh, who has that, who's had shown some of those Mars Pluto qualities in a match. So we see here, moving up here to the midheaven, he has Uranus and Aquarius where it rules. Uranus being the planet of genius, and it's there in his 10th house. And it's been said that this guy is, by Nadal, that he's going to be great, and that he may have not used the word genius, but it's kind of what he was saying, that this guy's got a great talent for tennis, and he's going to go places. We also see the North Node in Cancer with Jupiter and the Moon, so he's really coming into a life of fruition. When we see that Jupiter Moon in the North Node, and it also was something I don't talk too much about. This guy has with the Sun and the Mercury in the 4th house, and that Jupiter Moon on that North Node in Cancer. He also has Venus in Cancer. I don't know much about his family, but we could just speak on his tennis family. He would have had to run into people at a young age who are of a big time tennis pedigree. So we see that with that Jupiter Moon, part of him coming into part of his journey and his life, living a life of fruition, is coming into contact with people who care about him and are able to mentor him and facilitate his journey to the top of the tennis game. Some other things we could see with his Saturn being there in Gemini which is another great aspect that we see in tennis. Of course, it's ruled by Mercury, but just having part of his work being in a sign that gets around, that's likes to move around, likes to travel. Also, part of his test in life has to do with this um, very mercurial life of traveling, and how can you be successful uh, despite all these things, despite how much you have to travel and the planes and the way you manage your mind through all this. Interesting as South Node in Capricorn, which also I think goes along with that idea of being around the right mentors, the father figures, the people at the top of the game, the people that really study the game. With Capricorn being there in the seventh house, he's really coming into this life is relating very well to these people. And it's interesting that the match today, if this you're watching this with the Dimitrov final with him and Sinner, Dimitrov has the North Node going into moving into Saturn. So, or I'm sorry, moving into Capricorn, which is an interesting synastry for them to come together. I could definitely go more into the synastry of that and why these two people individually are coming together in this life for this final, aside from just playing tennis, which I won't do. Don't have time for it right now. See if there's anything else we can see. When we see the Venus is at the Scorpio decan, so kind of that Pluto Venus combination. He also has Pluto Venus in a in a Scorpio in conjunct with Pluto, and it's in the second house, which is interesting because that is the Scorpio in conjunct where there's an adjustments that need to be made, which is part of that Virgo Mercury adjustments analysis and making those adjustments. And you can see he's making those adjustments in this life. If you follow him in tennis, he has made some adjustments to his serve and that we know of, even like in the midst of having success. So this guy is used to making adjustments in order to get that big paycheck with that Venus in the second, in order to win that prize money, get to the top, and win some extra matches. Because it really wasn't necessary for him to make adjustments at that point. He was still making money. He was still, I believe, in the top 50. So he's willing to make those adjustments in order to make more money, even more than he's already making. Well, we see that some more basic expressions with that sun in Leo, which we see with Federer, which is great for being a tennis performer, an athlete who likes to perform. Moon is rules Cancer, so more of that guy who likes to be around his tennis family. Uranus is also making an opposition to that sun in the 10th. We don't see any squares, no squares to the node. So this is a guy also who's really brought the two signs and the houses of the 4th and the 10th and the Cancer and Capricorn, has really brought them together in a way that he can play tennis and perform in a balanced way. He doesn't have any serious off balances here between those two. So that gives more indication that he's really living a life of fruition, and probably we'll see this guy move to #1 in the world sooner than later. If you like the content, please subscribe to the channel, and I hope you have a great day.